Welcome to Mobius Reportable Events Training Webinar. The purpose is to establish uniform procedures for documenting, reporting, investigating, and reviewing events that have or may have an adverse impact upon the safety, welfare, rights, or dignity of individuals we serve. Who must report? Persons required to report under this rule include all individuals, staff, subcontractors, and volunteers who provide residential, day, employment, or other services. Persons working with clients with intellectual disabilities are mandated reporters. As such, they have an obligation under state law to report suspected or known abuse, neglect, or exploitation. Failure to report events may lead to disciplinary action up to and including termination. State law requires agencies tell the Department of Health and Human Services about all reportable events, and the department may require agencies to respond in certain ways to protect the individuals we serve. What to report immediately and in the same day? Abuse, exploitation, neglect, or mistreatment of a person. Death, serious illness or injury, lost or missing person, assault, suicide attempt or threat, dangerous situations which pose an imminent risk of harm, physical plant disasters. Your first response is always to ensure the health and safety of all individuals served. Who to report to? Call the program manager to report the event. The program manager will call the Office of Adults with Developmental Services at the number listed to give the information during normal business hours. If an event occurs during non-business hours, call Mental Retardation Crisis Services at the number listed. Immediately or within 24 hours, report the incident to appropriate licensing authority for our licensed homes. If the program manager is not immediately available, either the person completing the reportable event form or the program supervisor must complete step 2. What to report within one business day? Mistreatment, emergency services, non-emergency dangerous situations, rights violations, medication errors refusals, failure to obtain consent of public or private guardian or other legally authorized representative prior to implementation of new, changed, or additional medical order, including changes in medication or DNR orders when the person with mental retardation or autism cannot give informed consent. Missing medications suggesting the possibility of theft. This includes a pattern of missing medications or significant amount of missing medications, especially Schedule II drugs. Physical plant dangers, restraints, mechanical devices and supports not applied under the supervision of a qualified professional or part of an approved treatment. Self-injurious behaviors. Other events not listed above, but which create a dangerous or harmful situation. Again, your first response is to ensure the health and safety of all individuals served. Who to report to? Call the program manager to report the event. The program manager will call the appropriate case manager and guardian. For more information, refer to the full version of Mobius Reportable Events, Adult Protective Policy, and Procedures located at each program site.
The instructions for completing the reportable event form. The Developmental Service Reportable Event consists of a 4-page form to document events that have or may have an adverse impact upon the safety, welfare, rights, or dignity of adults with intellectual disabilities. On page 1 of the report, the first thing you're going to do is identify the event category. Check one or more categories which the event fits most appropriate. For each category selected, complete the corresponding category types found on page 2 and 3 of the reportable event. An example, Aaron Alban, we checked off restraint and dangerous situation. So therefore, on page 2 and 3, we will fill out more information. But first, we'll do some identifying information, the client information. The client's first name, the client's last name, gender, date of birth, social security number, the event start date, the event start time, the event end date, and the event end time. Then we have information regarding direct reporting to DHHS. The date reported, this is the date of a person-to-person direct contact with DHHS personnel, i.e. the case manager. This is not the date that you would report it to the guardian unless the guardian is a state guardian representative. If direct contact has not been made directly to DHHS, the date reported would be the date put into the EIS system. The person reported to, you give the name of the person you contacted. In this case, it was Kathy Jones, who is the caseworker. The department reported to, you select the department area the person reported to is from. In this case, it was the caseworker. The program type and incident location information. Program type during the reportable event. Choose from the list provided or check other and specify what other program type. In Aaron's case, it was DS home support. Incident location. This is where the reportable event actually took place. You choose from the list provided or check other and provide the location. In Aaron's case, it was in the community. The reportable event information. It's a short description of the event. You describe the event briefly and accurately. This is a first-person account of what happened. And if you're handwriting the report, please write legibly. You're going to describe what you saw, heard, or were told. Use objective terms to describe the event. Refrain from making assumptions and drawing conclusions. The narrative may include the name of the client for whom the report is written. Do not use the name of clients who may have been involved in the event. You can use terms like housemaid or peer instead of the client's proper name. You will use all the staff names of people who were involved within the narrative to make the report clear as to who played what role in the event. So in Aaron's case, we said, while walking down Main Street, Aaron began to run away from staff towards the road. Staff was able to stop him from getting hit by a car by grasping his arm and asking him to stop. A car stopped just inches away from Aaron. So the next thing you're going to do is describe the actions that were taken as a result of the event. This again is in the first person account of the follow-up to the event. Do not write the complete narrative in both description boxes. So for Aaron, once Aaron was safe, staff talked to him about street safety and the importance of crossing the road at the crosswalk and looking both ways. Then we have reporter details. This is the person who had a role in the event. So the reporter name, the person who was involved in the event is considered the reporter. The reporter should be the responsible person to complete the narrative portion of this form in their own words. And this was Debbie Ash. The reporter address is the address of the home or the community program that the program may be employed by. This is not the personal address of the reporting person. The work phone number, the reporter's work phone number where they can be reached if necessary. The email address, you're going to use the staff business email address. Do not use staff's personal email address. the title of the person reporting the event, which in most cases will be a DSP. The reporter role, you're going to check the reporter role had in the event. If other, please specify the role. In Erin's case, the person participated in the event. The method of reporting, check how you forwarded this report to the support staff for documentation in EDHS. So in this case, we called the caseworker, but in most cases, staff fill out the form and give it to their manager, so you would check off other and manager. The agency contact filer details, this is a space in the reportable event that you can leave blank because the agency filers actually fill this spot out. Worker details. The worker is defined as a support person that participated in, witnessed, or heard about the incident. If yes, please include all the workers' names. In Erin's case, there was only one worker involved, and that was Debbie Ash. The worker type is the relationship of the worker to the client. In Erin's case, it was direct service. The worker's role in the event, it was participant. Other person is a non-support staff that may have been involved in the event. Include all names. Do not list other clients' names who may have been involved in the event. And the role would be identified there. Family guardian notification. Indicate if the guardian was notified. Check no guardian if the client is their own guardian. List the name of the person who notified the guardian of this event. And in Erin's case, it was Karen Black. Name of the guardian, guardian's address, and the guardian's phone number. Now we get to page 2, and where we give more detailed information regarding the category types. And some of the categories would be physical or verbal abuse, neglect, sexual abuse, exploitation non-sexual, rights violations, serious injury to consumer. And a note on this one, serious or significant illness or injury may include any change in medical conditions caused by an accident or illness that require medical attention, including initial emergency visits, non-routine treatment. Significant adverse reactions to medications are reported as serious injury to consumer. Minor injuries that do not require medical attention, such as washing a wound or putting a Band-Aid on, are not considered reportable events unless another element of a reportable incident are present, such as dangerous situation or bruising that can't be explained. Minor injuries should, in fact, though, be reported to your supervisor. Routine office visits are not reportable events. Then we have dangerous situations and other, which we did check off on the category event for Erin. So now we go ahead and give a little bit more detail about this event. So we checked off other. Jeopardy event was jeopardy to the client, and it was considered unsafe travel. And why is this event particular risk to the person? Erin was almost hit by a moving vehicle. So if Erin walked out into the road and there were no cars coming, it wouldn't generate a reportable event. It was the fact that he almost got hit by a car, a dangerous situation. Was emergency services involved? No. So under dangerous situations include any act or situation that endangers a client, including dangers that have been ignored or uncorrected. Actual harm or injury need not occur. Any use of law enforcement, fire, rescue, or crisis service impacting a client must be reported. And so some other categories are death. Okay. So we go to page, and suicide, yes. All right, so now we go to page 3, which gives a little more information about restraints. Restraints are defined as any intervention that deprives a client the use of all or any part of the individual's body, including blocking an individual from their intended path or intention. The only approved behavioral methods for use in emergencies are personal holding and blocking restraints. The permitted use of emergency personal holding is to protect the person from physically injuring himself or herself or some other nearby person. So under the restraints, the question was, is this an incidental restraint to the reportable event? We said yes, because the main piece of Aaron's reportable event was the dangerous situation. The behavioral method we used a personal holding restraint. It was a single restraint. The start time, we put the end time of the restraint, and then the total time of the single restraint. Was it a multiple restraint? No. Precipitating conditions and behavior changes, we said other, which was Aaron wanted to cross the road. The behavior exhibited was unsafe. Intervention steps, we asked the individual to stop the behavior. And we also explained the importance of crossing the street safely. Under general information, we indicated that there were no injuries. On the right-hand side of the page, you'll see where the medication error. This is where if there was a medication error as a reportable event, this is the place that you would fill out the more detailed information. And so now we go to page 4, which is the Mobius administrative review form. So the question is, for staff, this is your place to answer the question, how can this be prevented in the future? In Aaron's case, the staff person wrote, staff will pre-teach street safety skills prior to walking downtown. So staff fill that out, they sign it, date it, and pass it into their supervisor, who then completes the supervisor's QA review of the report. They pass it into the manager, who then puts it into the agency filer to get into the electronic information system within the state. So a little bit on quality assurance. Mobius is committed to ongoing staff training and review of all reportable events. As part of the quality assurance review, the Reportable Events Committee meets on a quarterly basis to review all reportable events that occurred in the past 3 months. The committee documents the following: event type, staff response, form completion, and follow-up activity. The committee identifies trends within programs as well as agency trends. The committee may make recommendations for additional follow-up, referrals, staff training needs, and positive feedback to staff and teams. This concludes the webinar on reportable events. If you have any questions, please refer to Mobius Reportable Events, Adult Protective Policies and Procedures, located in each program.